Anthony "Fluffy" Hernandez continues to make waves in the UFC middleweight division. And after the way he dismantled Roman Dolidze in the UFC Vegas 109 main event, he's leaving no doubt about his ambitions. He wants the belt, and he's not shy about saying it. Coming into the fight, Dolidze had built a reputation as one of the most durable men in the weight class, having never been finished in his professional MMA career. Hernandez not only broke that streak, but did it in dominant fashion, using his relentless pressure, high pace, and versatile skill set to chip away at the Georgian from the opening bell until he secured a rear naked choke in the 4th round. It was the kind of performance that showcased the full range of his abilities, and left no question about whether he belongs among the elite at 185 pounds. The finish earned him a well-deserved Performance of the Night bonus, and extended his already impressive winning streak to 8 fights. At the post-fight press conference, Hernandez made it clear that this win wasn't just about adding another notch to his record, it was about sending a message. He admitted he was frustrated after his previous outing, which went the distance largely because he competed with torn ribs and had to fight conservatively to secure the victory. This time there was no holding back. "I was pissed off my last fight. I came in with torn ribs. It went to decision," Hernandez told reporters. "This time I wanted to come show the F out with my hands, my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu. Show I can do everything. I want a title shot. What do I gotta do? I work my back off. I push myself to the limit every day. All I know is violence and war. Give me a title shot, and I promise I'll be the next champ." Hernandez's rise has been steady but undeniable. His last loss was all the way back in March 2020, when Kevin Holland caught him early and stopped him in just 39 seconds. Rather than let that setback define him, Fluffy used it as fuel, going on a tear through the division with a mix of submissions, TKOs, and dominant decisions. Along the way, he's beaten some of the most respected names in the division, including Brendan Allen, Michel Pereira, and now Dolidze, all while building a reputation as one of the most well-rounded and tenacious fighters at middleweight. The road to a title shot isn't without obstacles, though. The middleweight division is packed with talent, and fighters like Rainier de Ridder, Nassourdine Imavov, and Caio Borralho are all in position to make their own cases for a crack at gold, especially with the UFC 319 title fight between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev looming. Whoever emerges as champion will have no shortage of challengers, and while Hernandez may need one more big win to secure his shot, his current momentum, ability to finish fights, and high-paced style could easily convince the UFC matchmakers that he's ready. For now, Hernandez is taking the smart approach, keeping his name in the conversation and staying close to the action. He'll be in Chicago for UFC 319 to watch du Plessis and Chimaev go to war, and there's little doubt he'll make his presence felt. Whether it's by jumping into the cage post-fight or firing off a challenge during the broadcast, Hernandez is positioning himself as the next man up. With his work ethic, confidence, and recent performances, it's getting harder to argue against him, and if he keeps winning the way he has been, it's only a matter of time before Fluffy gets his chance to prove he can back up his bold promise and claim the middleweight crown. Dricus du Plessis, head coach Morn Visser, isn't just confident ahead of UFC 319, he's openly dismissive of what Khamzat Chimaev brings to the table. With du Plessis set to defend his middleweight title against the undefeated Chimaev on August 16th, the buildup has been intense, but Visser's words on the UFC 319 countdown show have turned it up another notch. Instead of preparing to avoid Chimaev's wrestling-heavy attack like most opponents do, Visser insists the champion's strategy is to meet boards head-on in his own domain, and beat him there. Khamzat doesn't know what it is when people want to wrestle him, Visser said confidently. He's only facing guys who are trying to get away from his wrestling. We don't want to try to get away from his wrestling, we want to F him up in his game. That kind of approach is a bold departure from the norm, as Chimaev's suffocating pressure and chain wrestling have overwhelmed nearly every opponent he's faced. But Visser is adamant that du Plessis has the tools and the physicality to turn that strength into a weakness. Then came the real jab. Visser outright called Chimaev one-dimensional, claiming that the challenger's stand-up game is so underdeveloped it wouldn't pass for professional quality. You can't think that you're gonna beat my guy coming with one thing, and that's wrestling. Visser continued, that guy is one-dimensional. Have you seen his stand-up? I wouldn't even give him a pro license for his stand-up. He doesn't present any problem for us. We're the problem. The statement isn't just trash talk. It's a direct challenge to Chimaev to prove he has more than wrestling in his arsenal. For Chimaev, UFC 319 represents a massive opportunity to claim his first UFC title and maintain his unblemished record. For du Plessis, it's about defending his belt for the third time after already turning back elite names like Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland. A victory would solidify his standing as one of the most dominant middleweights of this era, and potentially set up a bout with either Rainier de Ridder or the winner of the highly anticipated Nasruddin Imavov versus Caio Borralho clash. But as far as Visser is concerned, all those future matchups are secondary. The focus is on breaking Chimaev's aura of invincibility, and doing it by attacking him where he's supposed to be strongest. If du Plessis pulls it off, it could be one of the most defining moments of his career, and a rare case of a fighter not just surviving against Chimaev's pressure, but thriving in it. One thing's for sure, when the cage door closes on Saturday night, there will be no room for one-dimensional game plans. Jon Jones, the former UFC heavyweight champion who retired earlier this year, has expressed heartfelt gratitude after hearing Khamzat Chimaev speak highly of him. Despite stepping away from competition, Jones remains one of MMA's most respected figures, and the mutual respect between him and Chimaev has now been made public. Chimaev, currently undefeated and set to challenge Dricus du Plessis for the middleweight title at UFC 319, has built a reputation as one of the sport's most dangerous fighters. While he once confidently claimed he could beat Jones if they ever fought, his overall admiration for Jones' accomplishments runs deep. Speaking back in 2022 on the Triple C and Schmo show, Chimaev praised Jones' ability to conquer top-tier opponents, pointing to his victories over Alexander Gustafsson and Daniel Cormier as proof of his unparalleled skill set. He called Jones the clear pound-for-pound #1 if he remained active in the sport. Jones, in an interview with Red Corner MMA, said the compliments meant a lot to him, particularly given Chimaev's own fearsome reputation. He emphasized that Chimaev didn't need to be humble or offer such praise, which made it even more meaningful. Jones described the comments as a reflection of Chimaev's character and humility, saying he felt honored to receive such recognition from a fighter he himself admires. As UFC 319 approaches, Chimaev remains unbeaten, with high-profile wins over Robert Whittaker, Gilbert Burns, and Kamaru Usman already on his resume. His aggressive, smothering style has made him one of the most feared competitors in the UFC today, and his growing rapport with a legend like Jones underscores the mutual respect shared among the sport's elite. TKO Group Holdings has unveiled what is being described as one of the most significant broadcasting shakeups in UFC history, a $7.7 billion rights deal that will see Paramount become the exclusive U.S. home of the UFC starting in 2026. The agreement, worth $1.1 billion annually over a 7-year term, will cover all of the promotion's numbered events, historically sold as premium pay-per-views, as well as its 30 annual fight nights, consolidating the UFC's core product into a single subscription service on Paramount+. This deal effectively marks the end of the traditional domestic PPV model that the UFC has relied on for decades. What makes this announcement particularly remarkable is the sheer speed with which it was concluded. UFC CEO disclosed that the agreement took just 48 hours to finalize. Prior to this rapid conclusion, there had been multiple bidders in the marketplace exploring different configurations for UFC content, with some proposals dividing up pay-per-view rights, fight nights, or other broadcast assets. Emmanuel explained in an interview with CNBC, as relayed by MMA Fighting, that the turning point came when Skydance's acquisition of Paramount was completed. Almost immediately after the deal closed, Paramount moved aggressively to secure the full package of rights. Emmanuel said that once the economic terms were outlined, the remaining details came together quickly, with TKO COO Mark Shapiro and his team handling the finer points to close the transaction. Shapiro emphasized that TKO's evaluation of potential partners was based on two core strategic goals: monetization and platform fit. On the financial side, the new deal delivers an average annual value that is double the previous contract, which was already considered lucrative by industry standards. On the strategic side, the company wanted to ensure that all UFC content would live in one place, creating a unified destination for fans rather than scattering events across different services. He noted that this arrangement checks the box for both priorities, providing a guaranteed revenue stream at a record level while aligning the UFC with a platform poised for long-term growth. The implications for fans are significant. Under the new model, all UFC numbered events, which have long carried price tags of around $70 per event in the United States, will be accessible as part of a $12.99 monthly Paramount Plus subscription. Shapiro called pay-per-views a thing of the past once the deal takes effect, framing the subscription as an unbeatable value proposition for fight fans who will no longer have to pay separately for each major card. For the UFC, the deal represents a dramatic pivot from the variability of PPV revenue toward a guaranteed high-value broadcast income stream that offers both stability and predictability. While blockbuster fights in the PPV era could generate windfalls well over $100 million for a single night, there was also greater dependence on star power and card strength to drive sales. The Paramount agreement ensures a steady $1.1 billion per year, regardless of fluctuations in event popularity, providing a solid financial foundation for growth, talent investment, and international expansion. Tom Aspinall's preparations for UFC 321 have taken a fresh turn with the addition of a new specialist coach to his already tight-knit heavyweight camp. On October 25th in Abu Dhabi, the 32-year-old Brit will make the first defense of his undisputed UFC heavyweight title against Ciryl Gane, a matchup announced by Dana White that stirred debate among fans and even prompted Joe Rogan to suggest other contenders might have been more deserving. This will be Gane's third crack at heavyweight gold, and Aspinall has made it clear that his goal is to end the Frenchman's title ambitions once and for all. While Aspinall has long benefited from training under his father Andy in a custom-built UK gym filled exclusively with light heavyweight and heavyweight sparring partners, the champ has decided to sharpen one key area ahead of facing Gane's slick kickboxing arsenal: his boxing. To that end, Aspinall has brought in Stipe Dricus, a respected boxing and conditioning coach, best known for working with UFC heavyweight Ante Delija. Dricus praised his new pupil on Aspinall's YouTube channel, calling him very fast and explosive, unbelievable for this weight, and stating flatly, "Tom is a very good fighter, the best in the world." Dricus' presence is expected to bring a refined striking edge to the champion's game, adding precision and adaptability to his already formidable stand-up. While the lead-up has been largely respectful between the two fighters, his opponent's camp has issued a word of caution. Surly coach warned Aspinall that confidently promising to get rid of the French contender could backfire in embarrassing fashion if the bout doesn't go as planned. The tension between quiet mutual respect and public bold statements is now part of the story heading into UFC 321. Where the heavyweight throne and bragging rights will be on the line. Michael Venom Page is looking to turn UFC 319 into his personal highlight reel when he steps into the cage this Saturday, August 16th in Chicago. Coming off a February win that handed Shamsakov his first career loss, Page now faces perennial middleweight contender Jared Cannonier in what could be his most pivotal UFC bout yet. Since crossing over from Bellator, Page has compiled a 2-1 UFC record, earning decisive victories over Bullet and Kevin Holland. While those performances were dominant, they lacked the kind of viral finish that MVP became known for earlier in his career. Against Cannonier, Page says he's hunting that moment of magic. "I've always gone into a fight wanting a knockout," Page told Ariel Helwani. "I go in there to deliver that to the fans." Cannonier, ranked number 8 at middleweight, enters riding the momentum of a February win over Gregory "RoboCop" Rodriguez. That victory snapped a 2-fight skid to Nassourdine Imavov and Caio Borralho, who will meet at UFC Paris in a potential title eliminator. Cannonier knows another loss here could push him further from the championship conversation, making this a must-win for the veteran nicknamed Killa Gorilla. For Page, the move up from welterweight wasn't about chasing easier fights. It was about escaping what he calls political matchmaking. In an interview with The Independent, he explained that at 170 pounds, big opportunities often get logjammed. Fighters protect their positions, title shots are scarce, and the influx of new names like Islam Makhachev moving up adds to the congestion. "I want all the smoke," Page said. The welterweight division feels too technical about who fights who. Middleweight has more fire. Should Venom defeat Cannonier, he'd likely crack the top 10 at 185 pounds while still maintaining contender status at welterweight, instantly making him a rare two-division threat in the UFC. And if he delivers the knockout he's chasing, Chicago fans might just witness a career-defining moment. If Dricus du Plessis defeats Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319, he may not just be cementing his reign as middleweight king. He could be forcing his way into the pound-for-pound conversation at the very top of the sport. Riding an unbeaten streak that stretches back to October 6, 2018, du Plessis has already dispatched some of the UFC's elite, but a win over the undefeated Chimaev would add a special kind of legitimacy to his legacy. Chael Sonnen, speaking on Good Guy/Bad Guy with Daniel Cormier, framed the stakes in unusually lofty terms. In a division that tough, they did not have 10 Anderson Silvas at middleweight, but they do now, Sonnen said, noting the current depth and parity of the weight class. If Dricus can go out and look good and get the win over Chimaev, I think he all of a sudden is going to be flirting with Islam's space and Ilya's space. That top 3 pound-for-pound placing is very within reach right now for Dricus. Sonnen pointed out that in MMA, the highest compliments come in the form of tangible accolades, belts, main events, and eventually, a coveted spot in the pound-for-pound top tier. Du Plessis head coach Morn Visser has added more intrigue by labeling Chimaev, quote, "one-dimensional," claiming the challenger's stand-up skills aren't on par with his vaunted wrestling. Chimaev, for his part, has dismissed talk of retirement and made it clear his goal is to walk out of Chicago with gold around his waist. This clash is more than just a title fight. It's an undefeated contender colliding with a champion in the prime of his dominance, with reputations and rankings on the line. Beyond Saturday night, the middleweight division remains packed with threats. Reinier de Ridder is unbeaten in the UFC and riding momentum. Nassourdine Imavov and Caio Borralho are set to clash in a high-stakes main event, and Anthony Hernandez's 8-fight win streak has made him impossible to ignore. Whoever emerges from UFC 319 will have no shortage of fresh challengers. But if it's du Plessis, the conversation may quickly shift from "who's next?" to "is he one of the very best fighters in the world, period?" Aaron Pico is just days away from stepping into the UFC octagon for the first time, as he prepares to face Lerone Murphy in a short-notice co-main event at UFC 319. The matchup, considered by many to be a potential #1 contender bout in the featherweight division, comes with high stakes for Pico, who joined the UFC after a long run in Bellator, and now has his sights set squarely on capturing UFC gold. While his UFC debut has generated excitement, another storyline has been lingering in the background: a potential fight with former Bellator champion Patricio Pitbull Freire. Pitbull, who signed with the UFC earlier this year, has gone 1-1 in the promotion and recently called out Pico, following his UFC 318 victory over Dan Ija, hoping to finally settle unfinished business from their Bellator days. Pico, however, has made it clear he has no interest in revisiting that chapter. Speaking to CBS Sports, Shaquille Majori, Pico dismissed Pitbull's challenge, saying he had pushed for the fight repeatedly during his Bellator tenure but never got the opportunity. In Pico's view, Pitbull's newfound eagerness is irrelevant, as their career paths have diverged. He added that he's solely focused on climbing the UFC ladder and fighting for the championship, rather than getting caught up in old rivalries. Pico even noted that had he beaten Pitbull in Bellator and become champion there, he might have been locked into a professional fighters league contract, preventing his UFC move. That, in his mind, worked out for the best. He emphasized that his priority is the title picture in the UFC, not settling personal scores. Pico's UFC journey almost began earlier this year when he was booked to face undefeated contender Movsar Evloev in Abu Dhabi, but the fight fell through after Evloev withdrew due to injury. Now, his debut will come against Murphy, and if he wins, it could propel him directly into a title shot against Alexander Volkanovski. Meanwhile, Pitbull, after defeating Ige, has cracked the UFC featherweight top 15, but for the moment, Pico's message is clear. The past is the past, and the championship is all that matters.